In this video, we're going to show you how to access Metisys using your iPhone and how to record walk data in your iPhone as you go along. Now, one of the best features that I like about the system is my ability to use my iPhone to record data. I use it pretty much all the time when I'm door knocking, unless I don't have a very good connection. Cellular connection, and it keeps dropping out. It gets to be a little bit of a pain. In parts of my district, actually, we have poor reception. But most of the time I use it because it's dynamically updated and dynamically linked to the main database, and it allows you to record all this information in real time, and then I don't have to go through the step later of having to record it. So it really does work out well if you can use it. Now, when we start this video, we're going to make a couple of quick assumptions, and the first is that you've already downloaded the FileMaker Go application to your iPhone. Now, remember, this is an Apple product only, so it will only work on your iPhone or your iPad. There is no Android application. The program FileMaker is actually owned by Apple, so they don't have any intentions of letting Android users use this. So it is a FileMaker product that is Apple compatible only. So we've already downloaded the FileMaker Go program, and if you haven't done this already, we have a very simple cheat sheet for you that helps you, kind of walks you through the process of setting that up. Very easy to do. If you haven't got that cheat sheet already, we can send it over to you. Just shoot me an email and we'll get that to you. The second assumption that we're making here, or the second thing we're showing you here, I'm actually showing you this on my computer. I'm recording this on my computer because I don't have a way to record this from my iPhone. So it's going to be slightly different, and we'll try to point out those things that are a little bit different, although what you see here on the screen is exactly what you're going to see on your screen. But of course, we're not going to have the keyboard pop up when we click on a field and things of that nature. So let's start and take a look at the iPhone screen. Of course, what we have here is the constituent's name and address with their town, whether they're a supporter of you or not, the state representative or the state senator, whatever the case may be, or not. We can tag them right here, as well as if they're a supporter of the Baker campaign. Those of you that are sharing information with the Baker campaign will have the ability to tag Baker supporters as well. If you're not sharing, you may still have that. You don't have to use it, or that may be taken away from your screen altogether. The other thing we can do, of course, is we can designate whether or not a person wants a lawn sign, and that comes in handy as well as we kind of go along. We also have a menu bar here, or not a menu bar, but a list of all the people on the street. So let's kind of go through how this works. Typically, when I'm doing a walk, I go onto a street, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the search button on my application here, and you'll notice that what happens is when it comes up with a search, it's going to go and select this field first. This is the street field that it is looking to select. So I'm going to just type in, and for the sake of our demonstration, I'm going to type in a unique street, which is Dale Street in Spencer, and I'm going to leave it at that. I know it's a very short street, so we'll see what happens. Now, to execute the search, we do not push search again. Of course, if we're using our iPhone, we're going to have the keyboard pop up, which will show up down in this area down here, and on that keyboard will be the Go button. And so we don't want to press search again. That won't do anything for us. It actually just opens up the search screens that you see here. You have to click on the Go button to actually perform the search. And when we do that, we are presented with those voters on Dale Street in Spencer. And we can see those voters here. Now, we see a bunch of information here, and it's kind of color-coded, and it gives us some very good information about the voters. The first thing that we're going to notice in the list of voters is that some are highlighted and some are not. In our universe, of course, we've mentioned in previous trainings, is that we're looking to knock on the doors of A and B voters who are designated 1 through 4. So A and B, 1 through 4. And also we're willing to knock probably on C voters who are 1s and 2s. Again, remember the C voter is those people who will come out in a presidential election, but if they're ones and twos, then they're very likely to vote for us. So we want to try to drag them out. So anybody who is highlighted is a target. So we want to go and see these people. And we can see we have a couple of people right here at number 1 Dale Street, and one in apartment 1, one in apartment 2. So we can see their designation of everybody on the street. And if we slide down, we can see the whole street here. So we can see a few people. And then we can see, again, the number of the house, if they're living in an apartment. We can tell their party affiliation. In this particular instance, it's a U, so this is an unenrolled voter, as well as their age. And then, of course, their name. Now, you'll notice that some of the names are in green. Most of them are in black. The green indicates that this person has been previously ID'd as a supporter. Now, it could be a supporter of Scott Brown's, Gabriel Gomez, or Charlie Baker's. Or it could be a supporter of yours. We don't necessarily know, but we can see that they have been at least identified as somebody's, or I should say of a GOP's candidate's campaign. So we do have a supporter here. We know they're going to be a little bit more of a friendly door to knock on. So as we go through, and of course we have Barbara here. She has already been pulled up. She's number 1 on the street. We can go knock on their door, and we can then ID them. So if they're not home, we just simply click not home. Maybe they're undecided. They just decided to take our information and say thank you and close the door. Notice that when they were undecided, all of a sudden the name went black here. So they no longer have been ID'd as a supporter of ours. If the person says, no, I think you're a jerk and I don't like you, we can tag them with the no, and then look what happens to the person. Their name shows up in red. So we will be alerted if somebody has already been previously ID'd as not being a supporter, so we don't have to go to the door. Now, you may want to go to the door and try to convert them, but a no will indicate that the person is no longer a supporter. You'll also notice that the bar turned white instead of gray, so that it would actually be taken off the list. They're not a target of ours. And the voter ranking is dynamically updated. And then finally, if they're a yes, then we can see that they changed from a B5 to a B1. They are in green, and so they're a good person to for us on Election Day. So we're going to leave them at this. We're just going to leave them at not home for now. And then we can also tag them, as I mentioned, for the Baker campaign. And we could tag if they wanted a lawn sign. Yes or no. Okay. So we can see this as we go through here and start to knock down on these doors and walk down the street who we want to talk to. If we want to talk to Dennis next, we can click on Dennis. His record will show up. We could then tag him with support. As we move down the list, we have a voter here, Brandon. And what you're going to notice there is we have a little word above here in red that says note. And that's of interest because what we have here, and you can't see it until something pops up, is a special status bar. And a special status bar gives you a little bit more information if it is available. And a lot of this information you do have to put in yourself, but because I've been using this database for a number of years, we get a lot of information. But the special status bar will tell us a little bit more about that voter. The note symbol here, or the word note, denotes that this person had contacted the office before. And if I click on that, Brandon will come up. And if we scroll down to the bottom of the screen here, then what we'll see is that he actually emailed the office in support of Cayley's Law. It was tagged on 5/23/2013, and we at least have a little bit more information about this particular person. So when we go to the door, now I'm not going to go to Brandon's door because he is a D voter. He's not typically somebody who comes out to vote very often, or if at all. But he's also a 20-year-old, so maybe he hasn't had a chance yet. But we'll talk about that in some subsequent videos. But he's not a target voter, but if I did go to his door, at least I would have a heads up as to what an issue that may be of importance to him. It might give me an icebreaker. Further, if I go down the screen here, I can see some of the different people. I can see that some of them are already supporters. And then as we go, we have another one here, William Millett, who's also contacted the office, and he had a claim with us that he wanted some help on. So some of these things we're going to start to find out about people, and again, it gives us a little bit of an update and a notice on what this person may have contacted us about, and give us the ability to talk to them and at least remember what they contacted us about. So it gives us a little bit of a leg up. Now we also have some fields in here. I'm going to go back to our record number 1, which was Barbara here. I'll go back up to the top, and we could tag this person. Now as we talk to her, we could say, you know, maybe she's undecided, or well, let's tag her as a yes. Barbara's a supporter, and I have a field where I can put in some door knocking notes. And so if I have some notes about this person, I can just put them in here. You know, let's see, we can just say was Second Amendment supporter. So now I have a door knocking note there as well. We have another field for a local title, and that actually shows up in the special bar as well. If this person was on a local board, or maybe Barbara was a selectman in town, we can designate that as well. And it gives us, again, a little bit more information. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is once I typed in something in the local title field, now again on the special menu bar, the LOC, the letters LOC showed up, indicating that Barbara is a local official. So as we go to that door, if we see that already, then we're alerted so that we don't go to the door and not have any idea of what this person or who this person is. So it does make sense to go into your database, go to all your towns, tag your local officials in your database on the personal information tab, so that when you are door knocking, you can see that here. And finally, we have a field here that's open, and actually we can't select it. If I click on it, you can see that it's not being selected. This is any kind of information that may come in from the office that we want to find out. And we did see that on Brandon, where he had emailed supporting Kaylee's Law. It was some information that came in via the office. We can't change it unless it's something already there. But again, it gives us an update. It gives us some information on this particular person. And the last thing we see down here at the bottom, which is giving me a little bit of a hard time getting there on my computer, but we see the words houses before/after. And you'll see that we're set up right now as it's selected for 25. This is just an effort. What this means is that whatever house we are on, and in this particular instance, we're on 3 Dale Street, that the list of people that show up on our phone is going to be 25 houses after that. So we would be able to see up to house number 28. So we're at house number 3, and we may be able to see up to house 28. Now, Dale Street's a short street, which is why we only see 13. But it would show us 25 houses before and after the particular record that we're on. Now, we try to keep this as small as possible. You notice there's 5, 10, and 25, and 50. The reason for these is the smaller number that we can get away with, the smaller number of houses before and after that we can see, the faster our connection will be. So we try to make things work better over our cellular connections depending on where we are. So if we're in a really dense area, an area where we have a lot of houses, we might be able to get away with 5. And that will show us 5 houses before and after the house that we happen to be on. Again, notice in this particular instance, I again chose 3 Dale Street, but we'll only be able to see up to 6. So there is no 8, so we're not seeing that high. Again, this works out well if we're in an area where we don't have good, or rather where we're in a dense area and we can keep our screens small. If you're in a rural area, you may have to bump that up all the way up to 50 houses before and after. This will slow down your operations, by the way, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. You have to take what you can get, because you may be at house number 3 and the next house up the road could be 53 for all we know. So you do have to play around with that. Now, by default, you are on the 25 houses before and after, and typically that's good for 90% of the work that you have to do, and I would suggest only changing that if your cellular connection's giving you a hard time. So that's the setup for the iPhone and the way that we use it. It should be pretty straightforward for you, and it's a really great way for you to log in your voters and log in your walk contacts while you're doing them. Again, it takes out having to go through a separate step. So I hope that works out for you, and we'll see you on the trail.